My mom once told me, "I wish I'd aborted you," after I refused to take the fall for something my so-called golden child sister did. She tried to pin it on me, but I stood my ground. In the end, her life unraveled instead. Hey Reddit. Growing up, my younger sister was always my mom's favorite, and I eventually got used to it. But one night changed everything. It started with a simple phone call, and ended with the entire family seeing each other in ways we never expected. Here's what happened. This goes back to when I was 22. I'm in my 30s now, but it's still clear in my memory. My sister was 18 then, still in high school, and we both lived in the same town. We weren't especially close, but I thought we got along fine. We had the usual sibling arguments, but I never believed she actually resented me. Looking back, I was naive about how she viewed me. My parents were decent people, but very different. My dad was straightforward, logical, and hardworking. He ran a few businesses and believed in fairness and earning what you had. My mom, meanwhile, was more emotional, protective to the point of being biased. She openly favored my sister, something everyone noticed. When people teased her about it, she didn't deny it. She'd just smile and say, "She's my baby." As the older child, I was expected to be responsible, babysitting, running errands, doing chores, and basically being the good son. My sister, on the other hand, was rarely held accountable. She'd break things, lie, talk back, and my mom would dismiss it or defend her. My dad called her out, but he was always outvoted. It became our family's normal, even though I knew deep down it was unfair. I still remember when we were about 10 and 6. My sister broke my mom's favorite vase, but without asking any questions, my mom blamed me. I swore it wasn't me, but she didn't care. I got grounded for a week while my sister sat on the couch watching cartoons. Things like that happened so often, I just accepted it. By 22, I had my own apartment, was working and studying, while my sister was finishing high school, popular and adored by my mom. My dad was proud of me for paying my bills and being independent, but my mom barely noticed. Around this time, my parents went on a ski trip. They asked me to check in on the house, but my sister would be staying there. They reminded her several times, "No parties, no nonsense. Keep the house intact." She agreed quickly. I figured she'd just watch TV, or maybe have a friend or two over. I didn't think much of it. The day after they left, my phone buzzed. It was my sister, acting sweet. She said she was having some people over and needed me to do her a favor. I already knew where it was going. She asked me to pick something up for her and even invited me to join, saying I might meet someone. I laughed and told her no, that I wasn't getting involved, since our parents had been clear. Instantly, she switched tones. She accused me of ruining everything, said everyone was already expecting a party, and that I was selfish for not helping. I told her it wasn't my job to cover for her. She called me useless, and I hung up. I assumed that was the end of it. I was wrong. That night I stayed at my apartment studying, but on social media I saw posts about a huge party at my parents' house. People tagged her, bragging about the night, typical of her, pushing limits. And in our town, cops didn't need much to show up. Sure enough, someone called it in. Police arrived, people scattered, and my sister got caught. The next morning, I went about my routine, not thinking much of it. Then came a hard knock on my door. 2 officers stood outside. They asked about the party and my parents' house. I told them my sister was staying there. But then they said something that stunned me. My sister had claimed I was the one who made the whole thing possible. I couldn't believe it. I hadn't even gone near the house. I told her no when she asked me to help, and now she was blaming me. They said I wasn't under arrest, but needed to come in. Sitting in the back of that car, I felt numb. At the station, they took my phone and repeated questions. Where was I? Who could confirm? Did I bring anything? I stayed calm, gave exact details, work cameras, apartment security, even bank records to show I hadn't purchased anything. They weren't convinced at first, but noted my points. Then they told me they'd called my parents. I dreaded that. My dad would listen, but my mom, she always believed my sister. When I called, my dad told me to stick to facts. My mom, however, kept asking, why would she say it if it wasn't true? I said maybe my sister panicked, but she wasn't convinced. They kept me overnight, but by evening, things started shifting. My work records and camera footage matched my story. My bank records showed nothing. Slowly, the officers treated me less like a suspect. The next morning, they let me clean up and asked again if there was anything else. I told them about my dad's liquor cabinet at home, that my sister could have taken from there instead of me supplying anything. I hated saying it, but it was the truth. Soon after, my parents arrived. My dad looked tired but steady. My mom exhausted and conflicted. I apologized for them having to cut their trip short. My dad hugged me immediately. My mom asked again why my sister would lie. I said plainly, because she didn't want to face the consequences. My mom didn't want to hear it, but my dad told the officers to continue with their process. They said they'd be checking the cabinet and pulling more footage. My mom looked stiff, but my dad just nodded. They let me leave with instructions not to travel far. My dad drove me back to my apartment with my mom in the car, mostly silent. Dad kept asking questions. What exactly did she say? Did she mention anyone else? Did she admit to taking anything? I told him everything. She called, asked me to help. I refused, and then she turned it around and blamed me. When we got to my place, my dad told me to grab receipts or anything that might support my story. My mom just shook her head, face tense. She kept repeating things like, she wouldn't lie like this, it's just too much. I didn't argue. I knew she wouldn't believe me until she had no choice. Later that day, Dad went to the house with the officers. I stayed behind, avoiding my sister. My phone kept buzzing with messages from family members asking what happened. I ignored them. I didn't want gossip. I wanted it resolved. When Dad returned, he looked drained. He held a small bag and said, "Evidence." They checked the liquor cabinet. Bottles were missing, and some half empty. My mom kept insisting my sister had just panicked, that she was scared, and didn't mean to lie. She seemed more concerned about my sister's future than the fact she nearly ruined mine. Over the next few days, Dad showed the officers everything. Photos of the cabinet, my work hours, video of me arriving home, even my car parked all night. My bank records were clean. Meanwhile, my sister's story kept shifting. First I drove over, then she claimed she came to my apartment, but there was no proof, no cameras, no evidence. Each change only made her look worse. When it became undeniable that she was lying, Dad stayed quiet. My mom tried to defend her, saying, "She's just scared. She didn't mean it." But even she seemed uncertain. I, on the other hand, was just tired, too disappointed to even be angry. That night, I heard a knock at my door. It was my mom. For a moment I thought maybe she was there to apologize. Instead, she walked in and said sharply, "You need to fix this." "Fix what?" I asked. "This thing with your sister. Just tell the police you made a mistake. Say you gave it to her. They sit'll go easier if you admit it. She sits just a kid. She can have this on her record." I froze. "You're kidding, right?" I said. "I didn't do anything. Why would I lie and destroy my own name for her? She's 18. She has her whole future ahead of her. You're older. You'll recover. You already have a job. This could ruin her," she said. I couldn't believe what I was hearing. "So you'd rather ruin me, your son, for her? She's my baby," she snapped. Like that explained everything. "You've always been strong. You can handle this." My chest tightened. "You're asking me to lie to the police? Do you hear yourself? She lied about me and nearly got me arrested." She panicked. "She didn't mean it." My mom shot back, her voice rising. "Panicked?" I almost laughed. She threw a party and blamed me to avoid consequences. And you're still covering for her. Do you even care what this does to me? You're being selfish, she snapped. You've always been cold with her. You think you're perfect, but you're not. I just stared. Selfish. She lied. She almost destroyed my future. And you want me to take the blame. You've always taken her side. That's not true, my mom shouted. You're just bitter because she's younger and gets more attention. I couldn't hold back. Attention? You treat her like she can do no wrong, no matter what. You protect her. Even now, after she nearly wrecked everything, she's still your favorite. Her face went red. Then her voice cracked as she shouted, I wish I aborted you. It hit like a punch. I didn't respond. She grabbed her purse, slammed the door, and left so hard the neighbor peeked out. I picked up my phone and called my dad, repeating everything word for word. He didn't sound surprised, just angry. I'll handle it, he said. Later I learned they had one of the worst arguments of their marriage. He told her if she kept defending my sister's lies, he'd leave. That was when I realized he'd seen everything clearly all along. The next day he called me and said, we're doing counseling. Either that, or this family sip's done. Counseling was rough. My sister sat there acting like she didn't care. My mom stayed stiff. My dad did most of the talking at first. Then it was my turn. I laid everything out. The phone call, the lies, the arrest, but also the years of favoritism I'd ignored. I even brought a list I'd written, times my sister lied, times my mom defended her, times I was punished unfairly. The counselor listened silently. My mom tried to excuse it, saying things like, she was stressed, or she didn't mean it that way. My sister finally spoke, denying some things, but each time I reminded her of the details. My mom tried to defend her, but my dad shut it down. That was the first time my sister actually went quiet. Counseling was tense, but it gave me space to finally speak. When my mom tried to interrupt, the counselor stopped her. My dad stayed steady, nodding, as if to say, see? My sister sat angry or embarrassed, but she never apologized. Meanwhile, the legal side moved forward. My dad hired a lawyer to clear my name, making sure I wasn't listed as a suspect. The report still had me in it, but he pushed for corrections. He even told me to keep every record, texts, calls, dates, because if she lied once, she could do it again. He was right. My sister still faced charges, not the worst ones, but serious enough. Lying to police, resisting when they arrived, and throwing me under the bus. My mom begged Dad to fix it, but even she realized it was too late. Dad told her plainly, this isn't about saving her. Court dragged on. I stayed out except when proof was needed. Some officers even apologized to me quietly, which I appreciated. When it was time for court, I didn't sit with them, watching my mom fuss over my sister, like she was the victim hurt, but didn't surprise me. My dad stayed calm but disappointed. My sister never once looked at me. She pled guilty to the lesser charges because the evidence was overwhelming. Her lawyer argued she was young, panicked, and made a poor choice, but wasn't malicious. The judge gave her fines based on the party size, probation for 2 years, and therapy. My dad liked that last part. He leaned over and said, at least now she still have to listen to someone besides your mother. I wish I could say she apologized, but she didn't. Not once. If anything, she looked angry, as if we were all against her. It was surreal. She nearly destroyed my reputation, cost my parents thousands, and still acted like the victim. After court, I focused on my own life. My mom and I barely talked. She texted occasionally, how are you? But it felt hollow. My sister did her probation and therapy because she had to, but acted like nothing happened. At family dinners, she avoided me. I kept my distance and focused on my future. A couple years later, she left for college. My dad and I grew closer than ever. He taught me about his businesses and slowly trusted me with more. My mom still excused my sister at times, but less often. I think even she knew she had gone too far. Eventually, my sister graduated and moved to California. She barely said goodbye, didn't call much, not even my dad. He had supported her through everything, paid for school, helped her get a job, and she never said thank you. She just disappeared from us. That's when I wrote about everything on Reddit. I didn't use names, but I wanted to share the story and hear outside perspectives. Somehow, my sister found it. I don't know how. Maybe someone sent it to her. Or maybe she just spends too much time on Reddit. Whatever the reason, she found it. She called my mom first, screaming. My phone lit up with messages from her. "Why did you write about her? Take it down. You're making us look bad." I sat at work staring at my screen thinking, really? After everything that happened, this is what finally makes her call home. Then my sister called me. I didn't recognize the number at first. I answered, and she immediately started yelling, no greeting, nothing. It was like listening to an alarm. I hung up. After that came long texts, threatening to sue, claiming I ruined her reputation. I ignored them. She called again, and I told her, "If you scream, I'm hanging up." She screamed anyway, so I blocked her. But she didn't stop. She called my parents, demanding they force me to delete the post. My dad told her directly, "It's his story. We're not getting involved." My mom was upset, saying it made her look like a bad parent. I reminded her I hadn't lied about anything. That ended the argument for a while. Eventually, my sister texted from another number. I picked up, tired of the games. She started shouting about how I supposedly had it easier, how she was never the golden child, and how I exaggerated. I laughed and told her I didn't care what she called it. She lied. I suffered, and she never apologized. That laugh made her furious. She repeated the same thing my mom once said to me. "I wish mom never had you." I replied, "Well, cool, bye," and hung up. That's when my dad drew the line. He told her she was cut from the will. She'd only get a small settlement and nothing else. She called him crying, saying it was unfair. He told her what was truly unfair was framing her brother and disrespecting the family. After that, she blocked us all. Months passed, and life moved on without her. My mom still missed her, but even she admitted my sister created her own problems. Meanwhile, my dad and I grew closer. He started showing me bigger responsibilities, and for the first time, I felt recognized. Then early this year, my sister came back. No call, no warning. She showed up at my parents' house with a guy and a plastic test. She said she was 2 months pregnant. My mom nearly cried with happiness, but my dad wasn't convinced. He even asked her to retake the test. She did. It was positive. She said she wanted to make amends and have her child know their grandparents. My mom wanted to believe her, but my dad said, "You can stay for a while, but if you want a place in this family, you'll need to work for it." He required therapy, group talks, and a direct apology to me. At first, she played along, smiling, laughing, acting like she was part of the family again. But when it came to apologizing to me, the act fell apart. She asked me to meet her and her boyfriend at a restaurant. I went, hoping she'd be sincere. Right away, I could tell it wasn't real. She mumbled, and when her boyfriend told her to speak louder, she elbowed him in the stomach. He left the table. Then she leaned back and said, "I guess I'm sorry, but really, this never would have happened if you just helped me that night. You always think you're better than me." She was still blaming me. I told her, "You still don't said understand. You lied. You dragged me through everything, and you said are still trying to make it my fault." She shrugged and said, "Whatever. You said her so dramatic. You got over it. Didn't said her you." I stayed silent for a moment, waiting to see if she realized how absurd that sounded. She didn't. I told her she still didn't get it, paid my share of the bill, and left. My parents found out quickly. The restaurant had cameras and audio, and my dad knew the owner. They watched the recording that same day. My mom's first response wasn't anger, but an excuse. She's pregnant. She's emotional, still trying to soften it, instead of facing reality. When my sister heard herself on the recording, she exploded. She yelled, stormed out, packed, and drove back to California. I thought she was gone for good. But then she started calling again, mostly my mom. She sent texts that switched between polite, hostile, and rambling. She sent ultrasound pictures, updates, and even threats like, "You still never see your grandchild if you let him keep talking about me." My dad stayed firm. He told her, "We'll support the child if you allow it, but this doesn't erase what you did." My mom was torn. She had always been softer with my sister, and the thought of a grandchild made her want to forgive. But even she couldn't ignore the video from the restaurant. I stayed out of the drama. My work days were long, but I enjoyed them. I was learning about management, payroll, and real responsibility. It felt good to be trusted. And yes, I valued knowing that after everything, my dad trusted me and had cut my sister out. It wasn't about revenge. It was about finally being recognized for my actions, not her excuses. One day, she called me again from another number. At first, she was polite. Then, within a minute, she accused me of turning everyone against her. I told her, "You did that yourself." She started crying, saying she was alone. Her boyfriend had left, and she didn't know what to do. For a moment, I almost felt sympathy. Then she said, "If you had just covered for me back then, none of this would have happened." That ended it. I told her, "You're still blaming me. Grow up." Then I blocked her. A couple of weeks later, she sent a long message to my parents asking for money. She said the baby was coming, and she needed help. My dad responded with his conditions. The same list as before. She rejected it angrily, saying we were horrible, that my dad was controlling, and that I ruined her life. For once, even my mom didn't rush to defend her. She was sad, but told my sister plainly, "You need to change if you want help." That surprised me. I think she finally reached her limit. As of now, my sister is still pregnant, probably 6 or 7 months along. She sends my mom short updates, nothing more. My dad is following through with his plans, even discussing setting up a fund for the baby. He says, "The child did nothing wrong." He's right. I'd like to meet my niece or nephew one day, but only if it's safe and healthy. In the meantime, life has moved forward. I've stopped waiting for an apology that will never come. Some people just can't admit they're wrong, especially when they've been treated as perfect their whole lives. My dad admitted once, "We tried to raise you both right, but we made mistakes. She'll have to learn the hard way." My mom has even started therapy on her own. Recently, she apologized for defending my sister for so long, and for the night she asked me to take the blame. She cried when she said it. I didn't know how to respond, so I just said thanks. It was strange, but it mattered. My sister nearly tore our family apart. She's still causing ripples, but through it all, I've grown closer to my dad, and even my mom is starting to understand. Our family is smaller now, but I'm learning to accept that. People might say, "But she's family." And yes, she is. But family doesn't give you the right to destroy someone else's life and walk away like nothing happened. Maybe one day she'll realize that. Maybe she won't. Either way, it's not my responsibility to fix her. When I think about her child, I just hope she treats them better than she treated me, or our parents. I hope the baby grows up happy and doesn't inherit all this conflict. People sometimes ask me if I'd accept her back if she apologized. Honestly, I don't know. It would have to be genuine, not another half apology. She'd have to take responsibility, not blame me again. That day may never come, and I'm fine with that. This entire experience taught me a lot: to keep records, to stand my ground, to not let guilt control me, to understand that parents make mistakes too, but sometimes they can change. And it taught me that being the responsible one is difficult, but it can also pay off. Don't let someone else's poor choices define your life, even if they're family, even if you care about them. Protect yourself. Speak up. Because at the end of the day, you live with the consequences, not them. So that's where it stands. My sister is gone. I'm moving forward. My parents are working on themselves. And maybe someday we'll all sit together and laugh about this. But if not, I'll be okay with that.